It's part of the All In Illinois initiative with new video and radio messages out there. Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton is one of the faces behind these new messages. And there she is. She is joining us now live. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be here tonight.
Okay, let's talk about this because you would think that by now people would have heard the message, that they would know what to do, what not to do. It sounds like that's not the case. How is this campaign going to help?
Well, I think one of the ways, so first of all, Governor Pritzker launched the All In Illinois campaign. But I think subsequent to that is when we really started to see some of the disparities with Black and Latino communities. And it was just really important for our administration to really do some additional outreach. We know that up to 80%, some studies say, of Black and Brown residents are not able to stay at home during a stay-at-home order. They're not able to work at home because they work on the front lines, and they're in a number of different positions, such as working as municipal employees or on the buses or in hospitals or in grocery stores. And so it's as we see the protests that everyone is talking about now, where there's a small group of people who are continuing to push for a rushed opening of our economy and our state. What we find is that it's important to remind, especially communities of color that have been hit the hardest by COVID-19, that while people are pushing for this to happen more quickly, we are still the ones that are disproportionately impacted, both in cases and in deaths. And so we have to make sure we follow the science, as Governor Pritzker has said on a day-to-day basis throughout this pandemic.
So what is the message and how are you delivering it?
So we took the All In Illinois campaign and expanded it by really adding what we call some credible messengers, men and women from the communities of color, from Black communities, from Latino communities, people who have ties to these communities, to really kind of give an additional direct message. So I kicked off with a message directly first to the Black community. I also have a video that will be addressed to the Latino community. But we have folks like Reverend Otis Moss from Trinity United Church of Christ. We have Jay Ivey, who had a wonderful spoken word piece to talk about what we need to do. And we have Tanya Cordova, as well as Juan Herta from Springfield, who also have videos for the Latino community. The bottom line is that we need to hear from those who have influence in these communities to let people know that we care about them, we're thinking about them. We know that this is a really challenging time for these communities, but we also know that we appreciate all that these communities, Black and Brown communities throughout the state, have been doing to make sure they follow the Governor Pritzker's order, and that we need to keep doing that and stay the course.
And I think it's so interesting that you bring up the Latino community because they've sort of been dealing with an added layer of issues there when it comes to language, when it comes to immigration issues. Do you feel like you've got a pretty good handle at this point on how to address the needs of that community when it comes to COVID?
Well, I know, for example, it's been very helpful to have Dr. Ngaze Ezike, who leads our Illinois Department of Public Health, to make sure that she translates her comments each day in the governor's briefing into Spanish. But these, as part of our All In Illinois campaign that was specifically doing outreach to the Latino community, there will be Spanish language translation, or most of the messages, in fact, are actually delivered in Spanish. We've also included in the message the fact that people can get tested. We have over 250 testing sites, public testing sites in our state. Testing at our public sites is free. We have made sure that we have expanded testing in Black and Brown communities throughout the state. And people should know that you will not be asked your immigration status at these testing sites. That's a message that we want to make sure that our Latino communities are aware of, and Black communities as well.
All right. Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, we certainly appreciate your insight today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And tomorrow.